The EU is a failure. One interest rate, one currency, one tyranny. There are countless charts which will clearly display for us the devastation of the EU and the path of destruction left behind. Let's take a quick look into this madness. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you today. We will cover some charts regarding Europe, regarding the EU. Let's begin right away. The ECB balance sheet. Globally, central banks have one specific policy: destroy the currency of that nation. That's the policy. It's not to save it, it is to destroy it. Look, financial crisis comes in and you see very clearly an immediate impulse to print a hell of a lot of money. And that's exactly what happened. Hockey stick upward. Then you have some, stagnation right here. And it seems to go up, it comes back down, but the policy ultimately is the direction upward. Very clear. Now, the ECB at this time holds 36% of Eurozone GDP. That's how much they own. The central banks around the world, whether it's the Bank of Japan, whether it is the People's Bank of China, anywhere, you will see them taking over the assets. They call them toxic assets, and to you and I, they're toxic, but to those creating all this currency, it's just more control because they can use it as a mechanism to hold us hostage. All of this debt is in some way the new wealth, and it's going to snap our backs one day. They're going to use it against us. Okay, so that's the ECB balance sheet. And as I've said, globally, it's the same policy. Yes, they may slow down their purchases at some point, and I'll show you that in a moment. It doesn't matter. I mean, if one country prints today, maybe another prints tomorrow. Look at this, the ECB Corporate Sector Purchase Program. Another policy that is just gone off the charts. Up and up and up, and they have to continue to purchase more and more because these companies are getting themselves into worse and worse conditions. And simultaneously, isn't it so interesting, isn't it coincidental that these corporations control the world? We've seen it. You see Goldman Sachs and all the big boys running all these governments all over the world, and they funnel the money from the central bank. Perhaps it goes through the commercial bank sometimes. Perhaps it finds its way through bailouts. It doesn't matter. It finds its way into the hands of the big corporations. That is the purpose of a bailout. It isn't, in fact, to save or rescue a corporation which has made some mistakes. That's like surface level. When you look at it specifically, it is to hand over a large sum of money from you to them. Moving on. The breakdown by country of risk. So you can see this here, risk analysis. What we have, and there's these two charts, but there's also two more, which I'll show you in a moment. Spain and Italy, very key. Germany and France. Now, why Germany and France? Because they own so much bad debt. They know that. It's very clear. And what would happen if a country like Spain or like Italy failed? Well, you wouldn't just have to worry about Spain and Italy. You would have to worry about Germany. You would have to worry about France and globally all of the nations which have been buying up their debt. It's a big, big problem. And on the right-hand side, breakdown by sector. Right in the lead, if you want to call it that, is utilities. Let's move on to a connected chart. Number of bonds purchased by country of risk and the number of bonds purchased by sector. Again, utilities at the top here. But you just have basically the same thing. And the number of bonds being purchased is really astronomical. The reason I say this and use that term is because, again, should these nations fail, it isn't just those nations which have to worry. That's why a country like Germany starts sticking their nose into other countries' problems, because they realize, hey, wait a minute, if Italy starts failing and starts to say we can't pay back, we are going to get royally screwed over. And in fact, that's the direction it's heading. So that's why other countries tend to buy up all that garbage debt, because they think that somehow this is going to be a saving grace. Look, we'll take those off your hands for now, pay us later. But ultimately, it's all going to fail. They can't pay back. It's literally impossible. And those in the know that that is absolutely the case. Now look, if you want to buy some bonds, you can do so, but you have to pretend that you're going to buy less and less and less as the years and the months go on. Show that on your charts. And that's what's happening. Less and less debt being purchased. But when you actually total up the amount that they're purchasing, I mean, it's incredible. It's huge. So whether they buy 10 billion or 100 billion a month, it doesn't matter. Money is being funneled from the individual to the corporations. It's the way it works. Whether they do that through inflationary mechanisms, or they do it directly through bailouts, bail-ins, anything. We're getting screwed over one way or another. And they can try to taper this off. But what is the next policy? Because, of course, nothing has been resolved. Very clear. And still, we're being told that the economy is getting better. We can't actually show that or prove that, but that's what is being told to us, lied to us. This is another one, breakdown by maturity, breakdown by ratings, number of bonds purchased by maturity. All I want to get to with this is basically the fact that should any nation in Europe go bankrupt, the ripple effect will be immediate. There is no denying that. And we need to realize that a lot of the debt that's being purchased, enough of this debt, is the lowest of low quality. And that is what is very worrisome, because it isn't that, AAA high-rated debt. It is the junk bonds which are being purchased. You want to be able to rescue a country like Greece, you're not going to be able to purchase AAA debt. That isn't what they are selling. They're selling off garbage. The risk is so high. Now, of course, certain investors chase that because of the returns on that. But ultimately, these nations are going bankrupt. And that is where every country is headed. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. If you think this is, floating your boat instead, then give me a thumbs down. Angela Merkel, wonderful. If you found the video informative, I know you will find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. So, if you want to look through the book, you can do so. If you go over to Amazon, they have a look inside feature that's going to allow you to flip through the pages of the book and see if you like it. Take care.